quite amazing.
Ask not what your
Voice.
can do for you.
What?
Nothing.
Just jamming
Nothing.
so hard like
Just
I've never heard it
jamming
before.
So hard, yeah. Dude, speaking of nodding your head to
Yes.
music,
Yes.
I went to a concert last week.
Oh.
I went to Tool.
Oh. And how was
I
that?
couldn't nod my head to the music.
Yeah. That doesn't surprise me.
Dude, they're amazing musicians.
I don't doubt that.
We talk a lot about music before we talk about the actual cars,
Which is great.
which is great. But
Yes.
yeah, they are amazing musicians. I'd never listened to Tool before.
Yeah.
Went to a concert, saw Tool, and I don't know. We'll see if I listen to them again.
You didn't like get in the car
It's
and
hard.
immediately turn on Tool.
No, because I couldn't remember any of the songs I had heard because they just
Yeah.
get into these insanely long rock riffs.
Right.
Very impressive.
Right.
And these insane key signatures where they're weaving different key signatures in the band together.
Okay.
It's very impressive, but it's
Yeah.
hard to just like
yeah.
nod your head to it, to like headbang to it. Because
Right.
as soon as you start, they're on a different beat time.
Right.
And you're off beat.
And you're like, oh.
And you're like, I guess I'll just sit.
And just in your defense for the listeners who
Yeah.
may not know, like
Tool, number one.
we went to see Roger Waters together last year.
Yeah.
And so Max isn't also like not familiar with jam bands or bands that like
progressive rock bands
Right.
who are free to just go off.
just to do whatever.
Oh, yeah, I love that.
For like an extended period.
Uh-huh.
So it's not that.
Tool is challenging.
This was a number of
Yeah.
factors.
Yeah, and if there are Tool fans out there listening, you would know. If you go to a live show,
Yeah.
you do not take your phone out and record. I don't know if you knew that.
No.
They are very anti. No recording, no cameras, no phones. There's signs everywhere. I guess they make announcements in the arena
So
before.
they're
okay?
Metallica and Napster
No,
about
they are no.
video.
So here's the thing. So we brought our friend, right?
Yeah.
He's a big Tool fan. He tried to see them earlier, but they canceled their COVID tour.
Okay.
So he got his ticket refunded, and then now he's finally seeing them for the first time. We have like floor seats. We're really close.
Yeah.
First song starts, like they're like, doom, 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 like they're warming up.
Yeah.
He pulls out his phone. He's gone. Security gets him, escorts him out of the center. The police are out there. They'll be like, can't get back in. He is gone.
They literally took him
They
out
were
of the
doing
show.
it all night long to people who pulled their phones out. Ruthless.
What in the world?
Ruthless.
Why would you even go to that show?
Because you love Tool. Isn't that crazy?
But I feel like, is this the definition of a Tool? A band that is literally throwing their own fans out of their show?
I think the fans are in like an abusive relationship where they can't get out. They don't realize they're being abused.
That makes kind of sense. Gosh.
Anyway, Mike, I have a. We'll get right into this.
Oh, okay.
I was gonna maybe say this for the end.
Oh, okay.
But do you want to? I bought something. Do you want to open it on the show?
I guess I don't think I have a choice.
Yeah, I bought this. I bought this off eBay. eBay.com for potential sponsors.
And
If eBay wants to sponsor this podcast.
And for those of you who are listening to the podcast, this is another chance for you to jump on YouTube.
Oh, yeah. This is a very visual part. I will describe what's going on. So I've handed Mike a big box. It's about a 12 by 13 by 12 box. It's almost cube-like. Mike is pulling out a knife. He's cutting through the eBay branded tape. I am excited for you, Mike. This might lead into what we can talk about today, and it's motorsport themed.
Motorsport.
We were
themed. Okay, I'm going to put the knife away.
You're like one flap away from opening this up. Final guess what this is? Not Roman Grosjean's burnt flesh. I didn't. Dang, that stuff's expensive.
It's you should see it though. Andretti's still hawking it on the streets. It's
man.
It's a 1998.
Okay. Maybe.
Daytona 500 hat.
Oh, wow. Okay, let's see if you're right. Let's see if he's right. He's rifling through the packaging, trying to find the product on the inside.
So much paper.
They packed. Is it inside the paper?
Oh, here we go.
What is it?
Here we go.
I haven't seen it. I just.
Oh, yes. The man. The myth. The legend.
Oh, it's a Dale Earnhardt doll action figure.
Since your camera wouldn't focus on you last week, let's see. Oh, there we go.
There it is. Ooh, look at that. The winner's circle.
The winner's circle of Biggie.
During Dale Earnhardt starting lineup.
The Dale Earnhardt Sr.
Choking hazard. Got that right. Yeah, dude.
I didn't realize they made such edgy jokes in that time period.
Okay. Wow. Are you excited about that?
This guy, I mean, it's epic. That's an epic one. Wow.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do something special with this.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna have to make Dale Earnhardt just live in this studio, as you guys could see. Again, there is a car behind me if you can see it.
Yeah.
On my camera. But amazing.
Can you guess what? It's unopened. The tape is still there. I don't even know when this was made. But can you guess how much this cost me? $19.99. You were close, $19.98.
Yeah, I was close.
Yeah.
This cost you $35.
Oh, that's more expensive than I bought it for.
Oh, really?
$19.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's things like free shipping. I was like, oh, I'm getting that.
Yeah. I'll purchase that right now.
So there you go.
Amazing.
New memorabilia for the podcast.
A new studio piece.
Yeah, we'll put it right here for the duration.
Yes. Next to our calendar.
I thought
That's
it was
a perfect spot for it.
Yeah, I thought it was a good timed thing. We had the United States Grand Prix this week.
And who is returning this week?
Daniel Ricciardo. I'm wearing his McLaren jersey.
From the American Grand Prix a few years
ago.
Yes.
Yeah, number 3. Dale Earnhardt, number 3.
Definitely going to have to talk about how those two tie together at some point today.
Okay, yeah, let's do it.
I think that's a good idea.
Because, Danny Rick looks up to Daily Earn.
Yep, the Intimidator.
The Intimidatorist.
That's where the number 3 came from for him. But that's awesome. What a cool... This is amazing. That is so rad.
Yeah.
That's a mean mug if I've ever seen one.
So that's our intro for the podcast today, is a little gift for the podcast.
Nice.
Yeah. Nothing else.
Nothing else.
We don't need anything else.
No. So
because all we need is Dale Earnhardt.
All we need is the intimidation.
And all we're going to get this week is Daniel Ricciardo returning to the United States Grand Prix.
Yes.
Haas with a great new spec car in a pretty livery.
And an American-inspired livery.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yeah. We have some questions from email. Should we do those at the end of the episode?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll save those to the end.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about some nerd news?
Nerd news.
Are you ready for the nerd news?
That's computer music.
It's like a Texas Instruments calculator.
We need to find some 8-bit car music.
Oh, yeah.
Car sounds.
Oh, yeah.
For nerd news.
There's got to be at least 15 unsuccessful 80s car video games that we could rob the intro from.
Yeah.
So we'll get right to work on that. But welcome to Nerd News.
Yeah.
For this week.
Uh-huh.
This is my segment. I don't get to welcome people to the podcast.
No, you don't.
So I'm going to take full
people. I'm Max.
advantage.
This is Mike. Welcome to Nerd News.
Not Fast Ones, but to Nerd News. Welcome to the Fast Ones Nerd News.
Exactly.
I do actually have a few notes.
Okay.
For some things that have taken place this week.
Good.
All right. Well, let's start with on November 15th, Disney Plus and Hulu will be releasing, I believe it's a 4-part series, documentary made by Keanu Reeves.
Oh.
On the Braun GP 2009 season with Jensen Button and Ross Braun.
Oh, exciting. I like all those names that you said besides Disney. I like all those names.
The money
that
had
you
to come
said.
from somewhere, Max.
Yeah, I mean, I liked all those names that you said. Keanu Reeves, Jensen Button. Those are great.
Ted Theodore Logan, who's a big motorsport fan. And for those of you who don't know, that's Keanu Reeves is who I'm referring to.
Oh, okay.
Is a big motorsport guy. And through the successful years of Formula One, took the opportunity to make a documentary on a thing that happened that he loved.
A great motorsport story.
Yeah, a big F1 moment.
Cool.
With the underdog Cinderella story of Braun GP. So that's coming out really soon, in a month from now.
Yeah, I'm excited. That sounds honestly better than Drive to Survive.
It will be, for sure.
Yeah, Drive to Survive, honestly, it's kind of predictable in a sense. We know there's some... We know what happens because we just watched the season.
Yeah.
And we know the drama will be made up.
Well, yeah, and then they'll get around to Charles and George and they'll be like, what you don't know about Charles and George is that they're bitter rivals.
Yeah.
And it's because George took Charles's girlfriend. And everyone will be like, that didn't happen.
It did to Netflix. It did in their hearts.
It did in their hearts.
Truth.
They wish that... their spin-off of of Love is Blind is going to be Love is Fast.
Love is fast.
And we produced it.
Yeah.
It's just about George and his girlfriend.
Yeah.
It's a really good miniseries. You should check it out.
If George isn't already producing his own series about his own life.
How many pitches a week is he sending Netflix?
Do you guys need a Drive to Survive spinoff?
We know that Drive to Survive is sort of losing relevance. So I'm just thinking ahead. I'm just trying to get you ahead of the curve.
I was surprised. I surprised myself. I went to Walmart.
Yes.
They're selling Formula One model cars.
Oh, yes. This was a big
I've
moment.
been checking them all year because they're slowly increasing the amount of cars that they're selling, collectible things.
Which is great.
And this was the week. Finally, there was Formula One cars there, and there was Max cars, Sergio cars, there was Carlos, Chucky Leclerc cars, and one Mercedes, and it was George Russell.
President of the Hall Monitors. Present.
Nerd in chief.
Oh, the nerd. The nerd is there.
But I did buy a Carlos. They're
You did?
$10.
I see.
It's a nice little
a
one.
Carlos previous Ferrari gen on my desk at work. So
See, that's great.
Yeah.
I was like, honestly, out of these, who am I rooting for?
Yeah.
Then it was an interesting little game.
Yeah.
Out of those, like 5 people, I'm like, yeah, I'm going for Carlos.
Which one of these is cool?
He's cool.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
That's definitely how I felt. That's how I picked his.
Okay.
Well. I'm like, it's not my first pick. It's not my last pick.
Keanu Reeves, new
right, so-
little series. That's awesome.
Keanu Reeves in his new documentary releasing November 15th, so keep an eye out for that.
Mm-hmm.
Danny Rick made his F1 car debut in Nashville and did some donuts in a little
Since
promo
being
session.
injured.
Yes.
Okay.
And his helmet is that new kind of tan flame helmet.
Okay, yeah.
And I just got to say, it looked real good with some Red Bull branding big on that helmet.
Yeah. Red Bull has been, like you said, Mike, just cheeky
They've been real cheeky.
with what they're choosing to market and advertise and put on their social media.
And that brings me to my next bit of news.
Yes.
Spa got renewed as a racetrack.
Uh-huh.
And the way that Red Bull celebrated
Yeah.
the Spa announcement was by posting a picture of Max Verstappen with Daniel Ricciardo
Yes.
from many years ago now, as opposed to, I don't know, maybe Sergio Perez.
Yeah.
Or even Albon or Pierre or anyone else.
And the caption was like, we'll see you in 2025 or something. Or and it's like, we will? These two drivers?
Are these the guys we're going to see?
Yeah. Also, it was kind of cheeky too. Daniel Ricciardo released his new line of clothes. It's all Nashville, Austin music scene, but very Nashville record music vibes too.
Yep, totally.
So he's in like Nashville, this like country western rock record music capital of the United States.
Yes.
The same weekend he released his line with the actual Red Bull Formula One team and car.
Right.
It was all very synergistic.
Yeah, it seemed like a real big announcement weekend.
Yeah.
Wink, wink kind of thing.
It's like Red Bull has something planned.
They got something cooking.
Yeah.
And it seems like the prediction that I made earlier, 2 episodes ago, it's gotten louder and louder.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I haven't even pushed it that hard.
At some point, Mike, you are going to be in danger of like
being right about everything.
Well, how do I put this? You're just pitching a no-hitter right now of like predictions.
Oh, so I'm like in danger.
You're in danger of losing the record.
Getting it wrong.
But like keep going because you're not going to get it wrong. Yeah.
That and 1,000 ain't
It's
a bad
amazing.
thing.
Yeah.
So, but moving on from that, the other things that I wanted to address were that the Haas upgrade is on the way, as we've discussed.
Yeah.
Henry gave us a good deep dive on that a couple episodes ago. One of the things that's interesting about that is that Haas actually rented an external garage away from the racetrack to build the cars because the upgrade is such a B-spec separate car to what they have been running.
Okay.
That the amount of work that they need to do to assemble these is not going to be something they want to do at the track.
Oh, okay.
And I'm assuming they've already started because the race is this week.
Yes, yeah.
And I'm not sure that they had access to their own garage at this point until Wednesday or so.
Gotcha. Okay, so you're saying they had like a off-site garage in Austin, and they've been building a car there for a while.
They have that car being built in a separate garage right now.
Do you remember?
It feels very like Top Gear, like
okay,
so
Top Gear.
like So we found some tools.
Yeah.
We found a workshop and cued the music.
Yeah.
And like now they're going to come out with like a lift
Yeah.
and some like green leaves on the car for some reason. And it's going to be ready for battle in America.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm stoked about it. I was thinking more along the lines of the movie Contact. It's a
okay.
Do you remember that?
Oh yeah, I love Contact.
Old Matthew McConaughey, Jodie Foster movie.
Yes,
great. But they've this is way too much of a tangent. But you remember they build the portal traveling device?
Oh yeah, the big like swoopy thingy.
The protesters blow it up.
Right.
She thinks her hopes and dreams are squashed. But there's an off-site one that another billionaire built.
Yep.
And she gets to travel through time.
Yes.
I feel like that's what this is too.
Yeah.
It's like, ooh, we had a secret one offside that we were building in secret.
And Alfa Romeo is just over there with TNT, and they're just like, and then they're like, actually, was in the garage all the time.
And Jodie Foster's our new team principal,
and she's like,
Matthew McConaughey.
way to go, Alfa Romeo.
Matthew McConaughey's in that movie. Texas.
All right.
Everything makes sense now.
He lives in Austin.
It's all true,
doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's always at the race.
Who knows?
Yeah,
he's
whatever.
everywhere.
He's been there.
Yeah. Okay.
And he's one of the celebrities that did not snub Martin Brundle. I actually remember Matthew McConaughey having a great chat with him.
That's right. We get to hopefully have a nice Martin Brundle grid walk.
Oh, I can't wait. It's been a long year.
It's usually the U.S. Grand Prix that they will let that play out real well.
It's where it gets just cooking.
Yeah.
That's where it gets great. Fun fact, I actually learned this week.
Mm-hmm.
I listened to Beyond the Grid with Murray Walker, and it turns out Murray Walker, who is the original, like the F1, the voice of F1 prior to Crofty.
Okay.
And he worked with James Hunt, and he's worked with Martin Brundle.
Oh, okay.
Murray Walker has since passed, but Murray Walker in the interview was talking to Tom Clarkson, and Tom's like, oh, and I love the grid walk with Martin Brundle, and what a good thing that he brought to the equation. And Murray Walker's like, good thing he brought.
Yeah.
He's like, I did it first. And he's like, and then one day Martin Brundle came to me and he's like, I'm going to revive an old thing that you used to do. And he's like, so Martin didn't invent this.
Oh, that's funny.
He's like, it was a thing that I started. Anyways, it was pretty funny.
That is funny.
And Murray Walker was 95 when this interview took place.
Oh, wow.
And so not even allowing Martin to have that credit, I was like, I immediately like this guy. He's amazing.
Yeah. If you invented something, you better get credit for it.
Take your claim. And then the last bit of news, which is something that I think is interesting, is that Lewis Hamilton is being investigated further by the FIA for walking across the track after his accident in Qatar.
Yes.
And like walking back to the pit lane.
Mm-hmm.
They say that Lewis serves as a sort of role model for the sport and for so many people. And that because he chose to break the rule to walk across a live track.
What the heck is the FIA?
Right.
What are they?
Just
what
annoying.
Are these rules?
Just annoying. Just make up something. It's a role model.
Keep going with this thing.
So the whole point is that now he's being investigated further for maybe potentially more fines and more legal action for being a role model that chose to break such an important rule.
This is weird.
A lot of fans immediately, because once that explanation came out, a lot of fans posted the video of Max walking away from the Monza crash on track.
Oh.
And goes, role model? Double standard?
Yeah. I'm not a Lewis fan. I am rooting for Lewis right now.
Yes, we are cheering for him.
But I'm not like a Lewis fan. But I'm on his side for this.
It doesn't make any sense.
I instantly always go to other sports.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, LeBron James like fouls someone. Are they going to be like, since you are the most popular basketball player, we are going to penalize you even more because you shouldn't foul people.
You should be the example.
Do you know how many people look up to you?
Yeah.
That is weird.
Yeah, it seems
it's just
like
rules are rules.
Yeah.
And they should have set penalties.
Yeah. So a magnitude based on popularity.
It's a sliding scale.
Yeah. Since when?
So like Lance Stroll can just do whatever the hell he wants.
Well, that was the other argument is everyone was like, oh, so Lance could just shove his trainer and that's not like a role model thing?
Right.
Like, since when could you just push somebody?
I think we should give him leeway too.
Assault chargers.
Like, it's your trainer. You work with this guy. If you're in the heat of the moment, you're mad. And let him be frustrated after like almost dying.
Yeah.
Like
passing out and racing unconscious. We know about this now. Well acquainted with it.
I feel like the FIA has like gotten mad at drivers for being mad.
Right.
And how do you not get mad?
They don't want you to, man. You just got to be happy about racing.
Yeah.
It's a happy sport.
No, wow.
No?
I just was like, I am known on the podcast for being excited about crashes.
Yes.
Like I think it's admirable that these guys are putting their life on the line.
Right.
Getting into these cars. So let's let them get angry.
Yeah.
If a car runs over the top of their head,
right.
Let's let them express emotionally how that made them feel.
Right.
Let's let them vent.
Right. And like, yeah, you don't want a driver to get hit by a race car.
Yeah.
But you also think the drivers ain't stupid.
Yeah.
They're not going to walk in front of a live racetrack out in front of a car.
Yeah.
Like Lewis isn't dumb.
Right.
And so it's like, no, he crossed the track while the cars were 45 seconds away.
Yeah.
And yes, we got a
3-mile long circuit.
Yeah, it's like, yes, we got a shot of Lewis walking to the pit area as George drives past in the background.
Mm-hmm.
But he's like 300 feet away at that point.
Yeah.
Like, he's not right there on the track. So,
all ridiculous.
Just a bit absurd.
Yeah.
So, I thought I would just bring that up.
It was a good talking point.
Yeah.
I can't believe it. The FIA is just like operating on its own little planet.
Well, where they've been so in favor of Lewis in the past and where that was a point of frustration for me, this is a really weird dig to take at him and be like, no, you can't walk across the track. Just seems silly.
Mm.
So
maybe Netflix asked him to do it and the FIA is getting mad at that.
They're just going to, they're like, we want a scene. We need like the Force India, like out of a courthouse scene again. Like if we're going to really make this season as good as previous seasons, we need somebody like bursting out of a Felipe, we need you to sue for your world title. Lewis, we need you to cross the track. And also, I guess I forgot to put this in the news. Bernie Eccleston pleaded guilty to $400 million worth of fraud that was being hidden somewhere in Europe. In another country.
In a treasure chest.
Or it might have even been Singapore. It might have been like 400 million offshore in Singapore.
Holy cow.
And so he is sentenced to prison.
Wait, this wasn't in the news?
Sorry, I forgot about it.
You're like, Lewis walked across the road.
Look, criminal behavior with Bernie Eccleston is not news. It's not news.
He's going to prison?
Well, supposedly, but you know how he's a billionaire.
He's
not going to prison.
I don't know.
He'll get pay bail. He'll be fine.
That is crazy.
But also, like, I'm not surprised. I guess that's why it didn't end up in my news.
Yeah, I mean,
this is Bernie.
If you guys don't know, Bernie Eccleston's the previous owner of Formula One.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The sole owner.
We've done an episode about it. Go back and listen to it. He has a fascinating story of buying Formula One.
Super fascinating.
But then he became this old curmudgeon.
Yes.
And wouldn't like progress the sport to younger people.
Went against what his core foundation was, which was progress.
Yeah. And now he got guilty.
And now he is
embezzling $400 million.
He's going to be handcuffed.
Wow.
This Mr.
Old
Eccleston.
guy with really bright white hair.
In his 90s, has a 3-year-old.
Champ.
Bernie, don't go changing Bernie.
Free Bernie Eccleston.
Hashtag free the burn.
Free the burn.
Not feel the burn. Let's free the burn.
Let's start that on
That's our
Instagram.
new one.
Yeah.
Amazing.
He's innocent. All right. Well, thanks for Nerd News. Shifting gears.
Yes, sir.
I think we've teased it a little bit today with this Dale Earnhardt doll, the American Grand Prix. Let's talk a little bit about Dale Earnhardt. I think the reason why I bring him up is because my favorite driver is Daniel Ricciardo.
Yes.
Daniel Ricciardo's favorite driver is Dale Earnhardt.
Correct.
He's based his car number 3 off of Dale Earnhardt number 3, and you have a little model car behind you. If you're watching on YouTube, you'll get to see it.
Yeah, and I have his arch rival on the shelf below.
Jensen Button. Mika Hakkinen.
Jeff Gordon.
Oh, yeah, Jeff Gordon.
Yeah.
So, like, me as a newcomer, I don't really know anything about Dale Earnhardt.
Right.
Why does Daniel like him so much? You know, you say Intimidator. He's obviously good at what he did.
Clearly was enough of a figure to get an action figure.
Yeah. So maybe, Mike, we can have a little conversation. You can outline for me, why does Daniel Ricciardo like Dale Earnhardt?
Well, there's so many factors.
There's so many factors.
First of all, Dale Earnhardt is one of 3, but at the time was one of 2 that had won 7 Cup championships. So it's Richard Petty,
Okay.
who had won 7, Dale Earnhardt Sr., and then in recent years, Jimmy Johnson.
Okay, cool.
So there are 3 NASCAR Cup competitors who have all equaled each other for the most amount of championships won.
So he's like Lewis and
Michael
Schumacher.
Yeah.
No one's gotten past 7.
Yeah. 7's a very odd number.
That is
up to
weird.
this stage.
That is really weird.
Yeah. So that is the cap so far. But Dale Earnhardt is the second to have done it.
Cool.
On top of that, Dale started his career with that yellow and blue Wrangler car.
Yeah. If you're new to Formula One, Zach Brown promised Daniel Ricciardo if he got on a podium that year at McLaren, he would let him drive Dale Earnhardt's car.
Yeah, he was allowed to drive one of his personal collection. He had bought a Dale Earnhardt NASCAR.
Yeah.
Which was a really rad purchase. Got to hand it to Zach.
He does have good taste.
He does.
And Daniel Ricciardo won Monza.
Yes.
And so at the American Grand Prix, he did a lap around in Dale Earnhardt's NASCAR.
The Wrangler car, which I'm so jealous of because that is just such a cool paint scheme. It's such a rad car.
It's weird to look at because I only know NASCARs as looking like sedans, I guess. I don't know how to say it. Just like a normal car, but fast.
Totally.
That one looks like it's from the 70s. It looks like it has like the cutback on it. I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah, it's a pretty square, boxy, typical stock car.
It doesn't look like a race car.
Yeah, it's a stock car. It's a real stock car.
Okay, gotcha, yeah.
With a welded-in cage. And that's pretty much all it was.
Wow. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and his first season in NASCAR, I believe, was 1978. And in his first season in NASCAR, he won Rookie of the Year.
Gotcha.
And then the following year, or 79, might have been 79. Then the following year, he won the championship.
Wow.
So Rookie of the Year and then champion the next year.
Has that happened in Formula One? When did Lewis win his first championship?
In 2008.
And did he get a Rookie of the Year?
I think he won Rookie of the Year because he finished second in the championship in his rookie season.
Oh, that's impressive.
With Fernando Alonso as his teammate at McLaren.
Yeah.
So maybe Lewis won it the second year. Let me look that up because now I feel like that needs to be equaled.
Spoiler alert, Dale Earnhardt's dead.
Yes.
But did his body possess Lewis Hamilton? Did his soul inhabit the body of Lewis Hamilton?
This is a good question. I'm like, this is how bad of a Lewis Hamilton fan.
You're spouting off Dale Earnhardt facts like nothing.
They're just in my head.
Lewis Hamilton facts are coming slow.
It's not something I'm used to. So 2007 was his first season, and then in 2008 he won his first championship.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
that's impressive. So Dale Earnhardt and Lewis. Little buddies.
That's actually a very weird trait.
That's crazy.
They both share.
And both 7-time world champions.
Yeah. So he's won 7 championships. He's got a lot of clout to his name.
Mm-hmm.
But along the way, as he kind of started his career, he was definitely fast. Mm-hmm. People recognized that he was quick. All of them kind of gave him credit immediately. All the big dogs. Darrell Waltrip recognized immediately. And Darrell was a big figure in the sport. If that name sounds...
Darrell Waltrip. I've never heard Darrell Waltrip.
But you have. So if you've ever watched the movie Cars...
Yeah.
There's the Flames car. That's the announcer. He goes, boogity, 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 let's go racing.
Okay, yeah.
That's Darrell Waltrip.
Oh, okay.
So after he retired, he became a commentator, and he became the most famous commentator.
Okay, cool.
Because he had a loud mouth, even as a race car driver.
Fun.
So he was the perfect fit to be a commentator. Anyways, Darrell was a big force in NASCAR at the time. A lot of these guys recognized that this dude was going to be fast, and he was going to be a factor in the sport for a long time. Dale's early career also comes with a little bit of like switching teams and figuring things out. Ultimately lands at the number 3. He did start with number 2. Ultimately lands with number 3. He eventually took on this look, the General Motors GM Goodwrench Service Plus.
Okay.
And the colors for this would have been like white for their brand.
Yeah.
But instead, Dale decided, you know what's better than that? How about all black and red?
Oh.
Because it just fit his persona.
Why?
And the reason he's called the Intimidator
is
because he was the last dude You want it in your mirror
Mm-hmm.
with no laps to go.
Okay, why?
Because he would stop at nothing. Stop at nothing to win that race.
Right.
And so if you were in the lead and Dale Earnhardt was in second, he'd wreck you to win the race.
Okay.
He didn't play clean and he didn't feel the need to.
Right. And that's...
He got
that's
to your
NASCAR?
bumper and he'd spin you out and you'd crash and he'd win and he'd just be like, well, that's just racing.
And that's...
And everybody would be like, boo! And he's just like, that's just racing. And he became either everyone's favorite
Mhm.
or he was the biggest villain.
And that's okay with NASCAR, right?
Right. 100%.
I mean, I remember watching my first NASCAR race with you, maybe last year.
Right.
And I was blown away that they were just bumping into each other
Constantly.
like, bumper to bumper.
Right.
And blown away.
That's just how they do it.
And Dale Earnhardt was just a little bit more aggressive.
Even more aggressive than most of the dudes now.
Oh, geez.
So, but then what really made Earnhardt famous is he was, and especially on the track, he had the reputation. So the black car, the number 3, if it was in your mirror, it was intimidating. You knew that he would spin you out to win. And there was just so many factors where it's like, oh my gosh, Dale's the worst.
Yeah.
And he won so many championships. He was fast.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's this kid and he spent some time in Indiana, spent some time in California,
Mm-hmm.
and he's a real hot shot and he's really annoying and everyone seems to like him. His name's Jeff Gordon.
I know Jeff Gordon.
The number 24 guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Jeff comes into the sport and he doesn't have any sense of identity. If you've ever seen Jeff Gordon in an interview, you probably know that he has no sense of identity. Bless his heart. He's just a race car driver at heart. That's all he ever cared about was winning.
Mm-hmm.
He's very not Dale Earnhardt type of personality at all.
Okay.
Just racing. Dale Earnhardt's like fishing and hunting and like a normal guy. He has
He's
interests.
relatable.
Yeah, he has interests outside of the sport.
Okay.
Jeff Gordon was just a racer. The dude just didn't care about anything but racing.
Gotcha.
And Dale was just kind of irked by this new kid. It's like, you're fast, but like,
Yeah.
you're hollow, man. Like, you're just here to race. And on top of it, Jeff didn't really have an identity, so he kind of latched on to Dale's at first. So he's
What do you mean?
wearing same sunglasses,
Oh,
kind
really?
of grew out a mustache, and Dale's like,
How old are you when this is going on, Mike?
I'm little.
But
I'm
you're
little.
into it.
Oh, yeah. I was little when this started to happen. And so it went away fast because Dale made his displeasure known to Jeff, being yeah, welcome to my racetrack and to my, paddock, to my garage area.
Mm-hmm.
No way in hell you're going to have a mustache and sunglasses. Knock that off.
Did Jeff ever have a mustache?
Oh, yeah, he did.
Really?
Yeah, and Dale Earnhardt was like, this is not your thing. This is my thing. Get it. Stop. Just stop.
That's great.
And the disdain between them was so deep. It is so incredible that Dale Earnhardt, he literally couldn't let go of it, that there would be times where he'd be like recording a commercial break or something for the sport. Like, you're watching NASCAR and my name's Dale Earnhardt, and then like on one of the takes, he'd be like, you're watching NASCAR. And if you root for Jeff Gordon, you suck.
Really?
Yeah, he would do stuff
we
like
need
that.
to find some of those.
Oh, I know where they are.
Let's post them on our reels. Yeah.
Like Ricky Bobby, like with the, if you don't chew big red, like that comes from like knowing that Dale Earnhardt was literally that way.
Derivative of actual Dale Earnhardt attitude.
The reality of Talladega Nights is that it is a true derivative of so many things that it's uncomfortable.
I didn't know. NASCAR is still very foreign to me.
Yeah. It's not to me.
But this is why we have this podcast. We're talking about all things motorsport.
Totally.
Yeah.
Basically, what ended up taking this sport, and we've talked about IndyCar and how it went through its little divorce where the sport split in two, and how IMSA had that same kind of thing. And a lot of like the motorsport in America really struggled to find its way.
Yeah.
NASCAR really soared to importance as Dale was like a rookie. And then as he progressed through his career and the television things started to swing in their favor,
gotcha,
he got his new opposite. And then Dale became the villain to the new guy, Jeff Gordon. And that is when NASCAR hit its peak.
Yeah, this
skyrocket trajectory.
Had a really great rivalry.
Right.
Polar opposites.
It's the Lewis Hamilton, Max Verstappen story.
Bringing people in. Yeah, okay.
They do.
Yeah.
They do. And it was the young rookie kid.
It's Magic Johnson and Larry Bird.
Yeah,
Opposite sides of the country.
Right.
Opposite teams, but huge rivals.
Right.
Yeah.
but rivalries brew viewers.
Yeah,
because
do.
they want to align with their team.
Yeah.
And so you were either a fan of the Intimidator wearing black, or you were a Rainbow Warrior Jeff Gordon fan.
Right.
And it was like you saw the future of it, or you were stuck in the past. And so there was just these different avenues of NASCAR fans.
Everything was splitting.
Yep.
That's pretty fun.
And so where Daniel Ricciardo comes into this equation is that he sees this badass American in black. Yeah. He's got the number 3 on the side of the car, and he's just a hero. This guy is just a true American hero.
Yeah.
And he's an Aussie kid that sees that, right?
Yeah.
Then comes 2001. Dale Earnhardt Sr. is racing with his son and another car that he owns. So Dale has his own team in the sport.
Yeah.
It's called DEI, Dale Earnhardt Incorporated.
Okay.
Dale Jr. drives for them, and Michael Waltrip, Darrell Waltrip's little brother, races for them. It's the 15 and the 8. Coming to the checker flag at the Daytona 500. It is Michael Waltrip, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Dale Earnhardt Sr., and the rest of the pack. So they're literally coming around turn 3 and turn 4. Dale Jr. is pushing Michael. Dale Sr. is blocking. Dale Sr. gets hooked and slides down into the grass and then back up in front of the field. And as he comes back up in front of the field, is hooked one more time and hits the wall close to 200 miles an hour.
Jeez.
This is prior to Hans devices and so many safety features that we now accept as normal. Dale also was known for wearing the half face helmet and not a full face with a closed lid. He always wore goggles and the open face.
Wow.
And so lots of things didn't work out in his favor as far as safety was concerned.
That's not good.
And the crash, he died instantly. So Dale Jr. So Michael Waltrip wins the race. Dale Jr. finishes second. They're celebrating together. Little do they know.
Oh, that's sad.
That Dale Sr. had passed.
Oh, that's really sad.
And not survived the crash. So really gnarly, heavy story.
Yeah.
But with that comes more hero status, right? For kids young age. I watched that race live. I remember all of it happening. I remember the ambulance coming out on track. I remember them showing with a helicopter the ambulance leaving.
Oh, wow.
And everyone saying there is no update.
Yeah.
We will provide one as soon as we have one.
Yeah.
And being concerned, being like, what happened to Dale Earnhardt?
Yeah.
And I was more of a Jeff Gordon fan. So as a young kid, I was like, he's closer to me in age. I don't know.
Yeah, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah. Looking up to the new guy.
Yeah.
But like, I remember this like rocking my world and just being like, well, what didn't I know about Dale Sr. and all this stuff? And so I became more of a fan as time went on and research and understanding more about this guy.
Yeah.
Than the real racer, kind of dorky Jeff Gordon guy.
Yeah.
And so anyways, he's just a really cool classic NASCAR figure.
No, that's rad.
And just so much grit, you know?
Yeah.
He had so much clout.
Yeah. No, that's a tragedy. I want to keep talking about Dale Earnhardt, but it's interesting that there is a parallel between him and these other greats in Formula One, like Senna and Schumacher, who probably aren't with us a lot anymore.
Right.
Yeah. What is it about these legends?
I mean, I think that there's something to the John Lennons of the world, the Ayrton Sennas, the Michael Schumachers, these people that it's like life can't be contained in their personalities and what they do.
That's a really pretty way of saying that.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm
like,
serious.
But like Dale Sr. he's one of those people that was definitely enough of a thrill seeker to like, even though that nickname seems stupid, because I've heard that Dale Sr. would sit in a tree for an entire day and not move once if it meant that he could find himself a deer and get the shot. Like he was extremely patient and, you know, but he got in a race car and was freaking fast.
Yeah.
So while he might be both those things, I mean, he was 50 years old when
that is impressive.
When he died.
To be a professional driver at that age.
Yeah. He's 49.
That is really great.
Yeah.
Mike, is there like a certain race that comes to mind where you think of like Dale Earnhardt as like, that was dope? Like what comes to mind when you're thinking like a really rad moment that shows how Dale Earnhardt just crushed it?
Well, one of the things that's a little known fact about Dale Sr. is that he had horrific luck with the Daytona 500. He'd won everything. Won every race, every racetrack. Nothing eluded this guy. But the Daytona 500, every year, something would come up and just rob him of the win. And so he hated the Daytona 500, but he needed to etch his name on the trophy because every winner has a placard on the trophy with their name etched into it.
Gotcha. Okay.
And so he was like, I have to win this race. It finally happened in 1998. Dale finally conquered the Daytona 500.
Sweet.
And what was so cool about it is that it wasn't just the win that was epic, because every Daytona 500 is crazy. It's chaos and it's fun to watch. But Dale Sr. won the race, and to show that everyone in the sport was happy for him and respected him, every team on pit road came out and high-fived him as he drove past. So every pit crew member, all the drivers, everybody. So he drove down pit lane and high-fived everybody.
That's pretty cool.
It was a really cool moment in the sports history.
Yeah, I like that.
Never happened and won't happen again.
Yeah.
It was the one time.
I'm trying to think. Is there a race that eludes Max Verstappen?
Only
That's
Monza this year.
And would everyone go out and give him a high five?
No.
Would Lewis be running up first to give him a high five?
No.
Never.
Even if it was an epic win.
Never.
No.
Yeah, no, that's really impressive. That's really cool.
Yeah, to see the sports reaction to be so positive is cool.
It's going to be great when, at the age of 49, Lando Norris gets first place
at Silverstone for the first time.
And everyone comes out and gives. That's when that will happen in Formula One.
That is what it happens.
When Lando gets his first win.
And the cars are AI driving, but he knows all the buttons to push.
Yeah. He just straps in and just like.
It's just a chair.
That's why he's 49 and being
in the
able
garage.
to do it. Yeah.
The car's just out there and he's just remote controlling
just
it.
Virtual high-fiving people. That's sad, but it will be true.
That's definitely Lando's story. Maybe as a recommendation, since we've kind of talked about Dale Sr. today and there's lots of things to learn about Dale. Dale Jr. has a podcast called the Dale Jr. Download. And he has a series that he released earlier this year called the Becoming Earnhardt series.
Oh, okay.
And they talk about that 1979 rookie season in depth. He talks about all the races and all the drivers who were participating at the time in depth. And it's a pretty cool listen. I liked listening to it. On top of it, NASCAR has released a classics website, and you can go back and literally watch all of NASCAR's archives that are available.
Oh my gosh.
And it's free. You don't even have to have an email to log in. None of that.
Oh, cool.
You can literally just go in and watch anything you want.
Oh, cool.
So you can go back, watch the 1998 season Daytona 500 and watch Dale Sr. win.
Cool.
And you can see some of these, photo finishes and some of these cool things that kind of made the name for the dude who is the Intimidator.
That's awesome. And again, I think we wanted to talk about it because it's the American Grand Prix this week.
Yes.
And we like Daniel Ricciardo. There's a tie there. But also we like Haas. Haas is America's Formula One team. This is America's home race.
Right.
There's also been a very rich history of motorsport in America.
Definitely.
So why not give a shout out to Dale Earnhardt and learn a little about that today?
Who is definitely, especially for those who are abroad and listening to this, who is a massive icon, if not one of the biggest, if not the biggest NASCAR name in history. Yeah. And where NASCAR is the biggest motorsport in the United States with probably no question, him being at the top rung of that, we thought it would be smart to talk about the guy who's kind of king of this.
Everyone's doing United States Grand Prix lead ups.
Yes.
We've talked about it in the past, so.
Yeah, so this was our version of it.
Yeah, hopefully you liked the journey along with Dale Earnhardt.
Definitely. Yeah. And as Max was just saying, we're looking forward to this. This is going to be epic this weekend. Yeah. We know that Haas is bringing an upgrade. It's more like RB. We are banking on points. I'm going double points finish for our boys.
Double points finish to get back over on Alfa Romeo.
I might have started a fantasy team, an F1 fantasy team.
Oh, really?
For us.
Yeah.
It's Fast Ones Podcast if you want to look us up.
Is this for real?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I might have put all of my eggs in the Haas basket this weekend.
Yes.
I mean, I put Max there too, because let's be serious.
Yeah.
Of course, Max is still going to do well.
Yeah, he's going to do well. It's a ringer.
So, but I also have Haas and both Nico and Kevin. And I'm really banking it. I think it's going to be an epic weekend.
That's going to be a good weekend.
And I can't wait to see Daniel back.
No, it's going to be so great to see Daniel back. And if Piastri crashes him out again, I will hunt him down.
I feel like, Oscar, we were just starting.
We were just coming
starting
around,
like
dude.
you. Come on, man.
As soon as someone starts picking at Lando Norris, it's amazing.
It's like we're on board.
What is it about trying to unravel these British drivers? It's Lando, George, and Lewis.
It's Harry Potter. How come when there's somebody who annoys me, it's always you three?
It's just Lando and Lewis and George. All right, moving right along. We have 2 listener emails, 2 listener questions.
Yes.
If you want to email us, fastones.us@gmail.com, or you can send us a message on Instagram. Follow us, fastones.us. Just check us out on Instagram. Okay, this one comes from Jamie. Love the show. Great to have a podcast to listen to that is also full of Haas fans. Got that right. Okay, so he says, curious for your thoughts on the new Andretti team and if Haas is in danger of becoming America's second F1 team. You're shaking your head no. But I feel like there's a lot of hype of like, Andretti finally America is going to be actually in the sport. And that kind of makes me mad.
Who said those words?
I feel like...
I don't agree at all.
Well, of course we don't agree.
Right.
Yeah.
What a load of crap. So, yeah, I mean, go ahead. I want to hear what your thoughts are first.
I mean, I am very partial to Haas.
Yes.
But like, I do think people, like there exists like this fandom that isn't recognizing Haas as an actual competitive USA team. Right. They're like, oh, well, the owner's from the United States, based in the United States, but like everyone on the team is, British or European. Or
Romain Grosjean.
Yeah, or they're like, which
the Andrettis are
their
like...
engine is like a Ferrari and stuff. Like, there's like all these arguments against it. But like, no, it's America's USA. It's USA's team.
Right.
Yeah. And then like Andretti coming in, it's like, oh, the Andretti's American, Cadillac.
What, you think the Andrettis aren't going to steal some British engineering? Of course they are. They're going to take people from other teams because that's how this works.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I'm just going to say it's like... the Toyota Tundra is built in Texas.
Okay.
By many different cultures, but in the United States, right?
Yeah.
And yes, it's a Japanese manufacturer, but the truck is built in the US.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. So what is the deal with like, is it because the Andretti home base is going to be in the US? Is that what people are thinking? Because Haas has a headquarters in the US.
Yeah.
And in England. And in Italy.
Yeah.
Which is rad.
Yes.
And I want homes in all 3 of those places.
Yeah, why wouldn't you?
So what are we mad about?
Yeah.
It seems like this is a real good idea.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that like, sure, because I mean, here, let me put it this way as well. Mario Andretti is also considered one of the most successful Americans in Formula One. But Mario was born in Italy.
Oh, interesting. I was going to ask, is it a perception of success? Haas, we are the underdogs, and it seems to be a perpetual underdog thing.
Right.
And our people just being like, oh, Andretti, that means success. We're going to, if we follow Andretti, it's actually going to be an American team that is going to be winning. Right. I mean, it's hard to win in Formula One as a brand new team. Right. And so realistically, I feel like Haas is in a good position now. Right. They're going to be in a way better position when Andretti's come into the sport.
Well, and here's where I'm going to give the Andretti some credit is that they did align with Cadillac. And although Cadillac isn't fully backing this, they aren't making a power unit. They're not doing some of the things that the other OEMs have brought to the table. Cadillac is deep in the racing scene right now. Cadillac has prototype divisions that they've been running well in the US.
Cool. Yeah.
And I think they introduced the Cadillac this year to the Le Mans racing, like actually in WEC.
That's cool.
The World Endurance Championship. So like Cadillac's looking for legitimacy on the global stage of motorsport. And I can respect them for that.
That's rad because I grew up, my grandpa, it's like always drove a Cadillac and they were just big clunky boats on the road. Yeah. And for Cadillac to be moving towards motorsport, I respect it.
It's cool.
And for me as a consumer, I'm like, oh, maybe I should look at a Cadillac if they're being fast and they're motorsporty and they're sportsy and fast. That's cool.
Right.
It's a cool move.
And
we respect that.
Right. And there's different generations of Cadillac owners, but you're right. Every person has a grandparent had a Cadillac at some point. So we definitely associate it with the boat.
This is kind of like Leah Iacocca in Ford v Ferrari, when he's just like, hey, let's make Ford the brand of the youth.
Right.
Let's go racing.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like,
let's make Cadillac a racing car.
Yeah. It's like that shift in focus in the 60s worked great for Ford.
Yeah, let's do it.
Hey, why not now? So I think Cadillac is smart to do this. I think that Andretti is smart to partner with a company that's hungry for legitimacy on the global stage.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Mercedes and Audi, who's now going to be in the sport, and Red Bull, Ferrari, these are brands that were proven on these same racetracks through decades. The engineering heritage and everything is around lightweight and independent suspension and all the things that the US was not doing for decades. And so it is a little bit funny to think like, oh, Cadillac's going to come in and try to mix it up with Audi and Mercedes and Ferrari and these people who have been doing it forever. Again, they're going to try and steal people. But the reality is that, yes, the OEM support of Mercedes and Ferrari and Audi will be huge because there's just even that little bit of engineering know-how that can come down from the companies and is not dollars spent by the team to figure it out. That is just going to benefit those companies just a little more than like a Cadillac can. And that's the only thing that I can say is that that's where Andretti's OEM hope is just a little different.
Gotcha.
But for Haas, and as far as it's going to pertain to Haas, Haas doesn't need an OEM, and that is part of what I love about them. They are the Braun GP. They are the underdog of underdogs, like you said, but they've proven themselves so much. And it's like, yes, it's fluctuated, but they're still here. And they're still kicking Alfa Romeo's butt. And AlphaTauri showed up with a car that was terrible this year. And Williams is hot or cold. So it's still so close.
And we'll see how close it gets this weekend. Haas will always be America's #1 team.
And even if the Hawks from Mighty Ducks end up being Andretti, I still don't think it'll be an overnight success.
Okay, next question. Well, thanks, Jamie, for writing in. Next question. Phil, he says, hey, Fast Ones. I've been hearing rumors or pipe dreams about Leclerc at Red Bull. How would Chucky perform at Red Bull?
Not any better than Sergio.
I think like he's like, like it's not realistic. But like, could a Charles Leclerc get tempted to go to Red Bull? Would Red Bull even be interested in a Charles Leclerc? I actually think that one of Lando Norris's funniest comments this year, just as a side note, because Lando's also been linked to this same discussion, was like, does Lando Norris, is he in discussions with Ferrari for a potential seat? And he said that he was looking for his first win, not his first therapy session. And I was like, ooh, that's good. It's a brutal answer. Side note, I saw a stat today that says Lando Norris is the only McLaren driver to not win a race in his first 4 years at McLaren. Ooh. I shouldn't laugh, but that's a brutal stat to have in your court. Okay, so anyways, Charles Leclerc. I mean, Charles, I think the thing... Would Red Bull even be interested? No. The answer is no. And the reason that I know that the answer is no is because they know that they would divide their attention. And I can tell that Helmut Marko and Christian Horner have no desire to do it. Either driver 2 can drive Max's car or he can't. And I know that with Charles, he would expect to be catered to as much as Max. I also think that like when you look at the old karting videos, which are some of my favorite things, when you see like Max and Charles be interviewed back to back because they crashed into each other during the race, and Charles won, and he's like, oh, it's just a racing incident. I don't know if you've seen the incident that comes from a childhood interview with Charles, but it's no big deal. And then like Max is like, he pushed me off the track. And he's all pissed off. And I'm like, I'm like, if you can't picture that, fast forward it to now. I'm like, Charles and Max would be at each other's throats so bad. And Red Bull would be like, what did we do? I can see that. So that's my take.
but I do think it would be fun. A part of me just thinks that Charles would probably crash a lot, though.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I don't know what I think. I think it just seems out of the question. I just can't see Charles Leclerc in a Red Bull uniform.
No.
He's been in a red one for so long.
Right.
To go to navy blue, just it doesn't fit his complexion. It's like he's an autumn.
Yeah.
So
he's a fall boy.
Yeah, and then Max Verstappen just fits that color.
He's just pumpkin spice.
Yeah, for sure.
And
it's weird. It's just like that whole Red Bull family.
Yeah.
They all match that.
Yeah, they do.
That uniform.
That real deep navy blue.
Yeah. And so I can't picture
Charles.
Yeah, he wouldn't do it.
And I also think that there's such an allegiance for and I think that in an era like we are in now, I think that that's something that's very unique to now.
Yeah.
Is that, you would have thought, I could never seen Alain Prost leave McLaren and go to Ferrari. Could never see him drive for Renault. And yet he drove for Williams. He drove for Ferrari. He drove for McLaren. And Ayrton Senna drove for Williams.
Yeah.
And so there's, it happens.
It happens. Charles Leclerc's blood just seems like Ferrari.
It runs red.
Because he was brought up in the Ferrari world.
Right.
Max Verstappen's brought up in this Red Bull world. It's like, Ferrari red and his blood's pumping with Red Bull. And it's just...
No, and even when I hear people say Lando Norris could be going to Red Bull, I'm like, nah. He's a papaya boy.
Yeah.
And I think that we've seen it. We know what he's going to do. He's going to be a McLaren guy.
Yeah.
And I think that there's such allegiance because of how young everyone is. And they're like, we need to develop it and we need to develop the car and that takes time. And so we're taking these young drivers and they are that's who we're going to grow with.
Yeah. It's a smart move.
Yeah. And so I think we've seen all three teams do it with Lando, Charles, and Max. And Red Bull has just really succeeded.
Yeah.
So maybe the other two can catch him.
Cool. Okay. Well, thank you for writing in those questions, Jamie and Phil.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks for listening to the episode today.
Appreciate it.
Follow us on Spotify, anywhere you listen to podcasts.
Yes.
Watch us on YouTube.
Yes.
So you can see the cool Dale Earnhardt doll.
You can see it.
Cool.
Live.
Enjoy the United States Grand Prix this weekend, everyone. We'll talk to you next week.
And the Grid Cars and Coffee is this weekend.
That's right. If you're in the Utah area, come to the Grid Saturday morning.
On the 21st.
21st of October.
And come say hi.
Okay.
We'll see you there.
Bye.
See you guys.
One small
podcast.
Do you guys need a Drive to Survive spin-off?
We know that Drive to Survive is sort of losing relevance.